Good evening. I'm Gary Rakes, President of Speedway Town Council, and it's Monday, June 26, 2017, 7 p.m., and this is the Speedway Town Council meeting. We have an agenda to follow this evening, but before doing that, I'd like to introduce those participating. To my right is Vice President Council Jeff Matthews.
Good evening, everyone.
Councilor David Lindsay.
Good evening.
Town Manager Jacob Blaisdell.
Good evening.
And Clerk Treasurer Monty Coombs.
Good evening.
First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask those here to stand and salute the flag, and we'll start. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. First couple of items beyond that on the agenda are approval of minutes from the June 12th, 2017 Town Council meeting. Are there any changes to those minutes that have been shared already or just distributed? No? We'll accept those as submitted. And approval of the Town Council and Speedway Redevelopment Commission Joint Executive Session Memorandum on June 12th, 2017 as well. Any changes or comments to those? Okay, those will be accepted as presented. Item 4 is public hearing on aging in place and a grant that we've been working on for some time here. Deb Lilly, would you come forward and kind of talk about that, please?
Thank you. Tonight is a public hearing, and as it's required by the state, if we could go ahead and pass the sign-in sheet around, that would be great. On July 17th, the application is due, and from what I understand, the town of Speedway is intent on going forward with an application for a $175,000 total project. We started out discussing the opportunity to apply for $350,000 or $300,000, but we haven't had a whole lot of, I think there's interest in the program. We don't have a lot of eligible applications right now. I believe we have 7 that appear to be eligible, and with the $175,000 project, we look at doing 8 or 9 homes. So I think we're in good shape by going forward with that amount. The match, I understand, is coming from the CDC for $17,500, so the total project cost is $175,000. The grant is $157,500. The program is funded through Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, and it is an aging-in-place owner-occupied program, meaning just that it is owner-occupied, and persons 55 and or disabled are eligible for the program. I believe that's pretty much all I have to say at this time. If you are awarded, my understanding is it's really going to be a long time this year because they just got their appropriation, and I think we won't know until like October.
Yep. So
we'll field those calls, though, obviously, from the homeowners. They've been calling us, so we'll keep in touch.
Deb, could you maybe review just the basic fundamentals of,
Sure.
of the project, the house-by-house project?
Sure.
Or home-by-home?
As I said, single-family homes, owners have to be 55 and older or a disabled person in the household, up to $15,000 for improvements to their home, concentrating on health and safety, structure, and then aging in place improvements, meaning making the home easier, more accommodating for the person as they age. We do handicap showers, ramps, that kind of thing. And then any improvements after that would be, we have a priority list, so anything that would come after that, we'd have to score it down. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. As I said, we're hoping to do 8 or 9 homes at that amount. Obviously, if a home only needs $6,000 or $7,000, we will keep that money and assist someone else.
Okay. There isn't a large attendance here, but we still have a requirement to have a public hearing.
That's correct.
I have a feeling, I know, since there's not a lot of folks in the audience, that there may not be anybody come forward, but I need to go ahead and just announce that it's 7:04, and we're going to call the public hearing to order. You've given some information on the program itself, and I appreciate your doing that. But is there anyone here that would like to speak to this topic. We'll have some more conversation maybe afterwards, but is there anybody from the public or even someone here at the council as a resident that would like to speak to this specifically? Okay, hearing none and kind of expecting that based on the relatively small crowd, we'll call this public hearing closed at 7:05. So we want to have some more discussion as a council or more questions?
I've got a comment, Deb. There's going to be some excitement built off of this project, I know. Do you anticipate us having this opportunity again in a year or two?
Yes, you certainly can. The only requirement is that the existing program be closed out. You do score a little bit higher if you wait 5 years, but you are eligible as soon as the program is closed out, and they are awarded. There's a timeline of 18 months, so you could easily go in 2 years.
Okay.
So we have 6 or 7 applicants right now.
That's correct.
We could add to that, correct?
We could, and I would encourage applicants to come on in, because sometimes people, for whatever reason, they may fall out. And not only that, we would keep a nice waiting list for the next time the town might want to go forward.
Repeat the maximum amount per household that you,
15,000
15, thank
per
you.
household.
Any other questions or comments? Great. I would just encourage the public to consider their neighbors, consider family members, that this is a great opportunity to make improvements to a home for those that maybe have special needs within the home, bathroom, kitchen changes, et cetera. There's a lot of different ways that this can be applied based on my understanding of the program. So thank you, Deb, for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item, Jacob, if you would take this on, it's an approval agreement with Wessler Engineering for on-call engineering services.
Yeah, so this is a contract for on-call engineering services with Wessler. The purpose of the contract is to give us kind of another tool in the toolbox that we can use, another firm that we can call on for obviously very minor services that are needed. A lot of times this is the type of work that's done for preparation of a larger project. This contract in particular doesn't obligate us into any project. If we did have a larger project that we wanted to do with Wessler or any firm, that would require a separate agreement specific to that project. So this is, like I said, for minor projects, and it provides us, we already have a similar contract with another firm. This would give us a second firm that we could go to in the event we needed on-call services.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the agreement with Wessler for on-call engineering services not to exceed $25,000.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion for item number 5 on the agenda as presented by the town manager. Any questions or comments? I might just make a comment that an example of where we use this in different times would be where we had a problem with a sewer. We needed to call an engineering firm to give us an opinion on that. Didn't have a project per se, but this was just on-call services. Or we also have other types of consultants, whether it be lawyers or whatnot, that we have similar type agreements with. So this is not uncommon by any means. Okay, great. Any other comments from the audience or here? Okay, all those in favor of approving this agreement with Wessler Engineering not to exceed $25,000, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This is approved 3-0. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, ordinance 1294. Tim Gropp, would you like to come forward and talk about this one, please?
Good evening, Council. For the record, Tim Gropp, the Economic Development Director for Town Speedway. This ordinance before you, again, authorizes the town to proceed with the bond issues for the Wilshaw project. This does not bind us to the bond, so there's still, as we work through this final month of due diligence, allows us to just allows us to proceed when the time is correct. We do not need, if things fell apart for whatever reason, which we don't anticipate them to do, we will not issue the bond until everything's in place, construction financing's in place, and we're ready to move forward. This just authorizes us to do that, as well as approves the form of documents that we will use at that closing. So those have been and continue to be on file at the town annex. Great. And this is the second reading.
Mr. President, I move that we approve ordinance 1294 on second reading.
I second.
Great, thank you. We have a motion for ordinance 1294. Any questions or comments from council? This being second reading, I don't either. Any from the audience? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving ordinance 1294, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This carries 3-0. And now moving on to item 7, resolution 2017-07. Jacob, do you want to describe what this is, please?
Yeah, this is just the town reimbursing the SRC for a 72-inch sewer pipe project adjacent to a portion of the B&O Trail.
Great.
Mr. President, I make a motion we accept resolution 2017-07.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion on 2017-7, the resolution. Any comments or questions? This is pretty straightforward. We anticipated this when we initially let this project, but this is kind of dotting the I or crossing the T at the end here. So all those, do we have any comments from the audience? I don't expect any, but there we go. All those in favor of approving resolution 2017-7, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This resolution carries 3-0 as well. And item 8, nomination to the Speedway Redevelopment Authority. Do we have any nominations?
Mr. President, I would like to nominate Jacob Webb.
Any other nominations?
Mr. President, I move that nominations be closed.
Second.
Okay, and we have motion to close the nominations for the Speedway Redevelopment Authority position. All those in favor of closing those nominations, vote, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 3-0. As such, we welcome Jacob Webb to serving in the position of Speedway Redevelopment Authority. And item 9, moving on quickly to through our agenda. Monty, do you have a report this evening and some approvals?
I do. Our claims that we presented to you for the period of June the 10th through June the 23rd, this past Friday, are in your hands, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer, or otherwise I'd appreciate your approval.
Mr. President, I make a motion we approve the claims as presented by our clerk treasurer.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve the claims. Any comments from the council? Any from the audience? All those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This carries 3-0.
On the same dates, we have the utility adjustments. It's a very short list to look at, if you will, which we like that. Again, from June the 10th through June the 23rd, and I would appreciate your approval there as well.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the utility adjustments as presented by Clerk Treasurer.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the utility adjustments as presented. Any comments or questions from council, from the audience? All those in favor of approving these, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 3-0 on the vote count there for approval.
Okay.
Anything else, Monty?
No, not at this point, no. Thank you.
And moving on to the report from our town manager. Jacob.
Yes, all right, thank you, Mr. President. I first want to start off by mentioning that there's a project for a hawk crossing system, pedestrian crossing system. I've brought this up in earlier town manager reports, and I believe Superintendent Hull has also presented that this project would be going forward. Again, this is a crosswalk on High School Road and a separate crosswalk on Cunningham. We received a strong bid for the construction of that project, and I just wanted to make sure that there is a concurrence from the council to go ahead and move forward with letting that project forward.
I concur.
I concur.
Okay, yep. Do you have concurrence?
Great.
Is the plan to have that installed by beginning of the school year?
We're doing everything we can to get it installed before the school year. My understanding is that the bottleneck in that is the procurement process and getting materials in. You can imagine that other school systems are out there trying to push to get their systems in before the school year starts, so we're kind of competing with them. But we're going to get this bid let as soon as possible. We just got it at the end of last week, so we're moving as quickly as we can. Also thought I'd mention that Tim Gropp and I had the opportunity last week to meet with Star Teague, Jeff Teague's sister, at the D1 sports facility that a lot of people have noticed is going up on the west end of Speedway, back behind the Starbucks and Chipotle area there. Site looks really cool. There's still a lot of work to do, but it's going to be really neat when they get that completed. They're looking at getting that completed mid to late August, we'll say. I hesitate to put a date out there, but they're planning a really cool ribbon cutting ceremony. Jeff, of course, is going to come out, and they're going to make a big deal out of it. They sponsored a car in the 500. They're going to have the car there, so it's going to be really neat. But it's going to be a really neat facility, and looking forward to having that open up. Also wanted to mention that there's, as a lot of people have noticed, there's mill and repave work going in on the northeast part of town around the track from 20th to 25th Street, and just kind of areas and roads in that area that have been milled and repaved. Would just first of all thank everyone for their appreciation on not parking where we've posted the temporary no parking orders. Please continue to do that. And I would also suggest that if you see workers in that area, you see work going down your street, if you could just, as much as possible, avoid maybe going down that road. It's safer for the workers. It helps the flow of construction a little bit. So it's a grid system in that area. If you see that you're running into the path of where there's road construction going on, they will try to help you navigate if you're able. But we would ask that you try to avoid that area altogether and just go around. But the work's coming along nicely. It's going to help a lot of the roads in that area, and hope people, like I said, continue to be cooperative and helpful with the no parking orders. And that's all I have.
Next would be a report from council members. David Lindsay.
If I can use my Japanese correctly, 2 weeks ago, Nancy Lawrence, who kind of leads our sister cities that we have with Verano and Motegi, contacted me and said she was contacted by the Japan American Society of Indiana, and they were having a welcome dinner reception for the governor of the Tochigi Prefecture, which is Tochigi's the prefecture or the state that Motegi, our sister city, is in. And so Nancy and I attended that reception last week, met the governor, a lot of his staff, and just welcomed him. He is a very good friend of the mayor of Motegi. He talked very, very highly of our sister city agreement and how it's a great, I don't know what the word to use is, a great event for the kids to attend, which we have 18 students from Motegi. It's usually 16. They're sending 18. They'll be with us in August, and just got to spend the evening with him and his staff. I was going to send a picture of the cable to have them post it, but didn't get around to doing that. So that was a great event. And one more quick thing, our sister cities Speedway students that are in Verano, want to wish them safe travels as they come back. I believe it's Wednesday that they're back in town, and that's all I've got.
Great, thank you. Vice President Matthews.
Just an observation. Jacob had touched on the D1 Sports Performance Building in that new shopping area over there. It's exciting to see the parking lot so full. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for everyone that's patronizing those businesses. And I know we've had lunch there several times. I'm wearing out the Starbucks on a daily basis, so it's exciting to see the development come together, and then there'll be more to come. So that's really all I have.
That's a great comment. I can't agree more. I think the challenge we're having, you try and, as just a person serving in the community, I know a lot of others feel the same way. You try and go different places and move a little bit. You spend in town around. It's getting harder to do that unless I spend more money, because there's nice new places that we can go do that. So it's fantastic, and it's exciting to see them move so quickly on their construction. It took a while to get that going, but once it did, man, they've been on it. Really, the only thing I would say is just it's summer. Lots of kids are in the parks. Lots of programs going on, bicycles, et cetera, just for residents to kind of watch out for. Just take it slower when they're near the parks. There's significant assets next to our parks, and they're called children. So please do that. It's been a fairly brief meeting. It's about 7:20. So but I want to go ahead and call this meeting adjourned. But thank everyone for their participation and attendance. Thank you.